What is up, everybody? Every year when the registration for Road Apple Roubaix opens up, I sign up no matter what. I don't do a ton of one-day events anymore, but this one is always tradition to kick off the season. That's one of the things I really like about it is the mix of people. You get people who are serious about racing and want to go out and test out their legs after a winter on the trainer, but you also get a lot of people who are just out to get that first ride in a big group of the year in. A number of things line up to make it really good for both the groups of people. One, the route. There's a 25 mile and a 50, and neither are super climby. There are other factors that play into it, which we'll get into a little bit though. Also, just the location. So Garrettsville, Ohio, being this cool little small town, is also the perfect distance from a lot of places. So a lot of the Cleveland homies come down, Joy Machines Racing and all those guys. A bunch of the friends from Pittsburgh and Give Up Cycling and more come from there. And then obviously a big Akron contingent, and then everywhere in between. I heard a lot of talk about the weather this year, and I kind of get it. I mean, March in Ohio is a complete wild card, but I think that's just part of this event. Last year we got this freak blizzard that wasn't even in the forecast, and they actually recommended not even trying the 50-mile route because the snow was just pounding the northern section. And it was really cold. I get it, but I don't know, unless you just moved here from Los Angeles, like, this is Ohio. This is March, this is spring, and it's evidenced by the fact that this day, it was 70 degrees and sunny when we started. I can't remember the last time I was out on a bike ride sweating in early March. Yeah, I'll be honest, I was disappointed in some of you. But even though this did start off beautiful, there were weather challenges out on the course, as always. Road Apple is a mix between gravel roads, as you can see here, and paved country roads. They never really completely build as a gravel event because it is so mixed, and some of the roads just get paved over time. But some of the paved roads, as you can see, also might as well be considered gravel because they're not in that great of condition. Last year's crazy weather notwithstanding, this year was a little different for me. I am still on this long recovery from the flu. I am not even close to 100%. I don't feel sick anymore, but I'm tired. I still have the cough. I didn't know how that was going to be affecting me on this ride. So I decided that I would make the decision whether I was going to do the 25 or the 50 when I got to the turnoff point. Usually for Road Apple, I try and go out really hard and just give it a really good effort. I'm not racing anyone else. I'm not near the podium, but it's one of these rides where I've just always gone, rode my drop bar bike, and just see how fast I can ride it for my own purposes, whatever, just for fun. But this year, I didn't even ride my drop bar bike. I rode the Gunnar with the fenders and the sweep bars, knowing that I had no idea how it was going to go for me. It was kind of fun to be on this route on the wider tires, I do have to say that, and it was also nice to have the fenders. Ben was kind of feeling the same way. He's not recovering from being sick, but he also didn't feel 100%, and he rode his sweep bar bike with some fenders as well. So we kind of stuck together, and you could also see we're riding with our buddy Aaron as well. Rode, I think, the first 40 miles, all three of us as a group. At this point, Aaron from Parma Heights joined our group as well. He was behind us, and he said he caught up because he did not want to be out in the wind alone. And that is the other factor in Road Apple that the numbers will never show, because I think it's 50 miles and about less than 2,500 feet of climbing, but the wind every single year is always so brutal in sections that it feels like you're going uphill, and you'll get caught in some long stretches, and you'll really want to try and be in a group for sure. And this year, as the day went on, we ended up on the edge of a storm, and I think the wind this year was worse than it's ever been. I was trying to imagine the people who were really out there racing this, trying to fight through that wind. I mean, it's bad no matter what, but yeah, it made it tough in sections for sure. This was actually the first year I ever even stopped at any of the aid stations. As I said, I've just always kind of ridden it hard and kept going. So it was nice to be able to stop and get some snacks and refill my water bottles, as I just really wasn't worried about my overall time or effort. It also changed this ride a little bit, as me and Ben were talking about. Usually with the iffy weather, I'm trying to decide what I'm going to wear. I don't want to have to change. I have a little bit of nerves before it starts because I know I'm going to try and ride it hard and hit some of the climbs. So it made this much more a relaxed day out and just having a good time. Or a good time for as much as I could for the way I was feeling, which, I was having some conversations, but then I still would have a couple coughing fits and stuff like that. At certain times, my legs did start to feel really, really heavy, and I did have to worry about my breathing a little bit. But when we got to the turnoff, being that Ben and Aaron were riding with me, I did decide to go for the longer route anyways. Like I said to one guy that we were on the road together, you could always just ride slower. Ben there was mentioning how the weather was reminding him of when we were coming back from Nutmeg, me and him doing our long ride. We were heading towards Warren, Ohio, down a long stretch just into an absolutely brutal headwind, and that was about the same right there. It's where you're actually having to shift gears to be in easier gears just to ride on a straight, flat road. And speaking of that, at some point we were on a gravel, slightly uphill drag into the wind, and I looked back and the other Aaron was completely gone. We must have ridden for 10 or 15 miles together, so I didn't see him at the finish either. So if you're watching this video, let me know what happened. I hope it wasn't a mechanical or anything like that. At this point, our weather luck kind of ran out. I thought we were just going to be on the edge of the storm and I could see sun in some other directions, but no, it ended up absolutely raining sheets on us. Me and Ben hit it right when we were on the big Alpha Road climb. It was lightning, it was thunder, an absolute downpour. It only probably lasted 10 or 15 minutes, but it was enough to completely soak everything through.
It's getting dark.
Even though I brought my big old bag, I didn't bring any extra layers on the ride. I think that was okay, even though I did get chilled for a little bit. I don't think I would have really stopped to put anything on. Rain jackets are always too warm. That would have been too hot. If I put on another wool layer, it might have been okay, and then I would add a soggy layer that I would have taken off in a little bit. After we got going a little bit up the big climb, I warmed back up, and then we had a long descent. I've said this a million times, and I'm sure you heard it a million times, but this is just why wool is the best. I'm wearing a wool t-shirt and wool boxers, and once they weren't dripping wet, even though they were still damp, they just don't feel that gross on your skin, and that's why I really prefer wearing wool stuff. And the reason I wore it this day is because I knew there was that chance of rain. The ride finishes a few miles down the Headwaters Trail. Even if you happen to make it out of a road apple fairly clean, you're going to get dirty on the headwaters. It's just the way it goes. Talked to a number of people after the ride who said they hit some slick spots, but at least it wasn't covered in ice this year, which it has been in years past. And the fenders also did come in a little bit handy, but it was sloppy enough that still got a little bit dirty. Since we did go a little bit more chill this year, I did miss parts of the after party, but I still got my beer and my glass and my chili and still had plenty of time to hang out with people. Right when I got back, though, my legs had been numb from the rain, and then they started to cramp up. So I know I was talking to a few people, like my buddy Woody, and then ran into a couple other people. A guy from Pittsburgh who gave me a really cool Vans bandana, but I was really trying to sit down there for a while, so if I was short with anyone, I wasn't trying to be a jerk. I was just kind of in rough shape for a little bit. Later on, I recovered and then had a lot more fun hanging out and chatting with the people from the different areas. A few people came up, which I just got to own at this point, and said they did this ride because they saw my videos, so that is just so cool to hear. Ben and I went straight through the finish, straight to our cars, and got changed into some dry clothes before heading to the after party. They also were doing the track stand competition again, which our buddy Chris from Pittsburgh won for the second year in a row. Pretty fun, pretty cool to watch and hang out with everybody. So another great road apple. One of the things I also always say about it is the weather is a wild card, but that's what you get after. You hang out with everybody, you tell the war stories, you have that shared experience. I don't know. For all the people who watch this channel and say, I don't know how to make friends, I don't have any bike friends, I wish I had them like yours. This is how you make bike friends. You go to bike events and hang out with bike people. So even though Ben and I did not get our beer hand up at the top of Alpha Road because of the thunderstorm, thanks as always to the organizers for putting on the great event that supports the bike community and the local community in Garrettsville. It's always just a great time, and I will definitely be back next year, and you should too. Thanks as always for the support. Thanks as always for watching. Consider becoming a channel member if you want to support this channel some more. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.